Halo is back, and in glorious fashion, with the release of Halo Infinite multiplayer a couple of weeks ago. Having once defined the multiplayer shooter for consoles, this series has spent the last generation searching for relevance against the powerhouse franchises and upstart new game modes that have turned into genres in their own right. But Halo Infinite shows that many of the things that made Halo a multiplayer icon in the first place are just as relevant and enjoyable today. Now, the small elephant in the room. While Microsoft's official release date for Halo Infinite as a whole is the 8th of December, and they've labelled Halo Infinite's early multiplayer release as a beta, we consider this to be the full release. You are able to spend money within the free-to-play games store, you're able to buy a battle pass, all of your progression and unlocks will remain with you on the 8th of December, and the beta includes all of the maps and the modes that will be available at launch. So it's on this basis that we've decided to review and score this free-to-play multiplayer separately from the paid single-player campaign. Where Halo Infinite's multiplayer immediately delights fans of the series is in how the fundamental gameplay feels. Yes, it is much speedier than classic Halo. That is, without doubt, the time to kill is lower than those games, and the weapons often feel that bit punchier. But you are nowhere near as reliant on split-second reactions as you are in Call of Duty, for example, and you very often still have time to dodge, dance, and try to make a comeback in a one-on-one fight. This game excellently straddles the line between Bungie's original trilogy and the zeitgeist changing that we saw with 343 Industries' Halo 4 and Halo 5. As one example of that though, Halo 5's dodge move is still found in Infinite, but only as a limited use pickup alongside things like the new grappling hook and threat sensor. When you spawn into each game mode in Halo Infinite, you do so with the standard assault rifle and pistol duo. All of the other guns and equipment that you want will spawn at defined points around the map, so you need to learn the maps to figure out where those spawn points are, and also then deal with some randomization for what is going to spawn in each instance. There's a good selection of weapons, all with strengths and weaknesses and relevant use cases. Covenant energy weapons are great for sapping shields, while kinetic weapons, the human guns, do more damage once shields are drained. There's also a smattering of new electrical weapons that we haven't seen before, great for stalling vehicles and leaving their pilots and gunners vulnerable in the big team battle modes. Some weapons do require you to adjust and use them in specific ways, perhaps making a better case for themselves in the single-player campaign that will release in early December, and so they can be tricky to justify picking up in multiplayer. But on the whole, I feel like there's a good balance across the arsenal of options that you have. Your starting weaponry will absolutely let you compete. If anything, the basic assault rifle is almost too good in comparison to pickup weapons like the Commando and the Ravager, both of which currently need too much skill to get the very best from. Part of the problem is that you don't have any of that experience from using all of these guns from the campaign. Getting used to all of the new weapons has to be done on the fly as you first encounter the randomized weapon pools that each match presents you. It's fair to say that there's a solid and enjoyable core, with rebalancing sure to elevate the current unloved options to become much more relevant choices. There's a few overarching game types where you can put all of these weapons into practice. You've got 4v4 arena modes in both quick play and ranked, and then you have the much more expansive vehicle-laden chaos of 12v12 big team battle. Over the past week, we've also had the limited time Fiesta Mode, which takes standard 4v4 Slayer matches, but has you spawning with random weapons each life. It can be utter chaos with so many power weapons in play, but it's also a hell of a lot of fun just to be able to kick loose and just be like, yes, I've got a rocket launcher. These are all modes that we've seen before in the Halo series, though Big Team Battle is now bigger than ever with 24 players instead of 16. And while a lack of innovation might be slightly disappointing, when so much of Infinite's gameplay and design is like comfort food for Halo fans, these modes are exactly what this game needs them to be. It might take a little while for you to get into the swing of things, especially if it's the siren call of the Halo theme music that is bringing you back to a multiplayer FPS for the first time in years. But then that first time that you stick someone with a grenade, the first time you run someone down with a Warthog loaded with your buddies, that first multi-kill you get, the first nail-biting CTF match that runs all the way into overtime, these moments are magical, and it's part of why Halo is so appealing. For all of the good, the fantastic and the brilliant that Halo does though, its launch has been mired by all of the hallmarks of free-to-play money spinning and the whole platform building that games as a service demands. There's a battle pass to buy and progress through, and a store filled with cosmetics that are priced so highly as to make a mockery of the notion that their transactions are micro. It's these two elements that have largely come to define the progression through the game, and to put it plainly, it's an area that 343 Industries and Microsoft have currently got completely wrong, even after the hasty tweaks to the system that they made in the days after release. For free players, there's a feeling that there's barely any crumbs of cosmetics for you to unlock. For Battle Pass players, it then feels like you've doled out £8, $10, and you've got a few nibbles, maybe a breadstick or two. But the banquet of customization is reserved only for those who will happily shell out £7, £10, £15 at a time for a bundle of cosmetics. It's made worse by the method of progression, with a number of weekly challenges handed out that task you with completing feats within game. These were far too taxing at launch and have been made noticeably more simplistic, but there is still a time where you're going to get stuck on something. You will still have to do things like get 15 kills with a Warthog turret or a particular weapon, to stick an enemy with a grenade, capture flags and so on, in addition to the more basic kill count objectives. They're just not particularly fun, and the system as a whole needs to be reconsidered. Coming from previous games where it was your time and your in-game performance that mattered for leveling up, these objectives, these challenges now force you to play in particular ways to carry on your progress, and it can often detract away from playing the mode's objective. It can sour the game for yourself if you're stuck on a particular challenge. It's also been fascinating to see how players started the past week going absolutely hell for leather in Fiesta Mode, but now that there's more demanding challenges like getting kill streaks within the mode, or even stopping other players' kill streaks, even what was this fun diversion has now slowed to the sweatier styles of play. It's far too easy to try and excuse this as being just the hallmarks of a free-to-play game, but you cannot argue that when there are plenty of free-to-play games out there that are much more generous through both their free and premium battle passes and have much better progression systems. It's also easy to suggest that you should simply enjoy playing the game itself and not concern yourself with trivial cosmetics, but Halo games have had cosmetics and unlocks for almost all the way through the series. Halo Infinite doesn't have a progression system, a rank or a level that is separate from those and distinct from your battle pass. There's no overarching goal anymore other than to grind through the season's content. And there's also just the manner in which some very basic cosmetics that recolor your armor unlocks a particular armor course. For the samurai themed event armor, basic blue and red recolors have been sold for £5 or $7. But there's deficiencies elsewhere as well, where Halo 2 and Halo 3 pioneered what could be done through the use of player statistics, with detailed and granular data available to view, from kill-death ratios to individual weapon performance and accuracy percentages, and Halo 3's excellent heat maps to show danger areas on a map-by-map basis. Halo Infinite has none of that. You know that it's being tracked because you can see the particulars during and at the end of each match, but it's for 343's eyes only after this point. There's also a very minimalist approach to the playlists and the game modes on offer. With just the 4v4 quick play, big team battle and ranked arena modes, and whatever the current event playlist available, you have no way to choose a particular mode. Some of the quirkier game modes like Griffball or Missing, sure to be trotted out as a weekly event with themed cosmetics in future. This means that if you're handed a challenge to play and win CTF matches, you better cross your fingers that it's going to come up whenever you're randomly matchmaking into a game. It's a real shame because Halo made a name for itself with its sprawl of varied and fun game modes and customizable experiences, but so much of that is being held back or locked away, even though we know that it exists. Through all of these issues though, Halo Infinite is still a fantastic showcase of just how brilliant Halo multiplayer can be. Its fundamental gameplay and the mixture of small and larger scale modes are an absolute joy. It's just a shame that so much of that is currently being clouded by the dismal battle pass, the paid cosmetics, and the unsatisfying progression. In our estimation, Halo Infinite is still a must-play game for shooter fans, but it's also one that dramatically needs to change its course with the monetization if it's going to survive in the long haul. Thanks as ever for tuning in, and I hope that you have enjoyed our Halo Infinite multiplayer review. If you want to know what's going on with the single player, then you should keep an eye out on this YouTube channel and also on the 6thAxis.com, where we will have our review and comparison videos in due course. So keep an eye out for those, and before you go, make sure to like, subscribe, share, click the bell icon, all of the usual YouTube things, and hopefully we will see you again soon. Goodbye!
I took their flag.